What's up YouTube? Following on from the Serene vlog, it led me down the road of thinking about serving sizes and how they don't really help anyone who has their own macro targets and has an idea or wants to gain an idea about their daily intake and how to manipulate that to reach their body goals. So I recorded this straight off the back of that video. Serving sizes are, I'm trying to think of a better word than completely obsolete. That they're redundant because they're based on a recommended daily calorie intake, which doesn't take into any consideration your goals or your lifestyle, your activity levels, whether you're sedentary, sat down in front of a computer all day, or whether you're a labourer on a roof, building, doing whatever. So a serving size is completely pointless. So on Serene, it was 2 slices. Now it's per 1 slice. That's redundant. And we live in an amazing time. Like, the fact that we have all of this information on the packet is fantastic. The power of knowledge is on the supermarket shelves because these manufacturers have to do this for us now. 10-15 years ago, it wasn't the case. We have the power to really shape our nutrition because it's out there, it's on the supermarket shelves. But there's also a governing body that's trying to regulate and offer recommended serving sizes, and they are completely pointless. Case in point, dried fruit, okay? 1 packet of prunes, 1 packet of dates. Both cost exactly the same, both weigh exactly the same, and they both have the same nutritional information in terms of saying that this pack is 1 serving and it counts as 1 of your 5 a day. But look beyond that and you'll find that this packet of dates has twice the amount of carbohydrates as this packet of prunes, and yet it's still being marketed as both of them 1 of your 5 a day. So clearly 1 of your 5 a day does not equate to the amount of carbohydrates you're getting. It's all based on fibre, which is what the marketing teams in all these food companies have struggled to deal with and questioned how they could talk to us about fibre, because it's essentially about keeping you regular, getting you to sit on the toilet every day. So that aside, you're getting your fibre from this 1 out of your 5 a day. Yes, that's fine. But to fight obesity, to fight people putting on weight, people who want to track their calories, their nutritional information, then if they didn't look at the details and say the carbohydrate values of these 2 packs, again, just like the Serene, they could quite easily be doubling their intake every single day. This would be a typical thing that you would put in someone's lunchbox, in a child's lunchbox, or you may have stashed away in your drawer to snack on. And yet, if you're snacking on the dates, you're going to be having just under 28 grams of carbs for 40 grams of product. Whereas if you snack on the prunes, it's just under 14 grams of carbs. And yet they're still being marketed the same as 1 of your 5 a day, which is terrible. It's nonsensical. But also, I'm not saying that having the dates or having higher carbs is bad. That's not the case. But this all goes back to being based on that one person who's that recommended serving amount. But they don't know what you're doing every day. They don't know if you skip breakfast, if you're practicing intermittent fasting, or if you've had a massive breakfast, have skipped lunch and are having dinner. Because then it all comes down to your nutritional goals, okay, your targets, which aren't printed on the back of a packet. Because say if you skip breakfast, you're now clearly in a deficit compared to that recommended average Joe who's aiming for 2,500 calories. What that means is that over lunch and dinner, you could quite easily have a lot more than the recommended serving amount than that average Joe, because you didn't have that amount at breakfast. Case in point, peanut butter. Per 30 gram serving, 14.6 grams of fat. There's a little bit of carbohydrate, there's some protein, but the main thing, everyone knows that you have peanut butter for the fats. So if that's per serving, a recommended amount, and the recommended amount at breakfast, lunch and dinner is whatever these manufacturers are stipulating, but you skip breakfast, then you could quite easily double that if you wanted to. The whole issue with serving sizes and how much you should eat of one thing and another doesn't just end with prepackaged fruit. There's issues with fresh fruit when it's listed, because you'll see grapes are higher in carbs than an apple, yet a similar amount are graded for both of those. I think it's around 80 grams are graded as one of your 5 a day. Yet if you have the grapes, there's a lot more carb. I've got some other foods here that there's also just, the information can be so confusing. And yes, for someone who is just looking to eat healthily, that's absolutely fine. Just go by serving sizes or go by the eye. And if you're hungry, you eat more. If you're not hungry, you eat less. That's perfectly fine. But I'm guessing that if you're on this channel, it's because you're interested in fitness, and you're interested in fitness nutrition and fueling your goals. And you would have done some reading about this sort of thing and macro tracking. And so that's why I'm making this point, to try and help you and anyone else who is looking to learn more about this subject so that they can dial in their nutrition. First up, I want to bring out the dates again, just as an example. Obviously that's one of your 5 a day, apparently, from what the supermarket tells us. Same supermarket product, but chocolate covered dates. I'm really looking forward to trying these out. Yet nowhere on the packet does it say a serving of these dates is one of your 5 a day. Now obviously they don't want to be seen recommending you have something that's covered in chocolate to get more fiber in your diet, to eat a portion of fruit that's covered in chocolate. But technically it should be on here somewhere to say that a certain amount of these does equate to the same level of fiber that you'll get in just normal dates. So that's one contradiction. That's one big issue there that is not misleading, but there's not a consistent amount of information across the board. Especially when you come to think of something like this pasta sauce, which is something I use regularly, yet they can claim this is one of your 5 a day. I'm guessing it's because of how many tomatoes and, well, that's pretty much it in terms of vegetables, but I'm guessing that's how many tomatoes are pureed to make this sauce, that they can claim this is one of your 5 a day, in spite of the fact that it's full of sugar and a bit of cheese and some other stabilizers and additives. Yet something that has fruit as the primary ingredient cannot claim that it's one of your 5 a day, yet this can. On serving sizes, these protein packed lentil cakes recommend 2 lentil cakes per serving. Why do they do that? That would give you just under 10 grams of carbohydrate, 3 grams of protein, and less than 1 gram of fat. That's fantastic. But how do they know that you only need 2 lentil cakes per serving? You may need the whole packet if you haven't eaten anything all day. Fresh pasta is a minefield when it comes to nutritional values and serving sizes. Here we have recommended a quarter pack comes out to be 64.6 grams. Now that's absolutely fine, because you can weigh a quarter of this pack, because they give you the total weight, 500 grams, and we can check that if we need to on here. So it comes out as just over. That makes sense, because obviously you've got the packaging there. So a quarter of the pack is easily done. That's fine, and then you can get this amount. However, what if I don't want that? What if I am on a low carb day, or if I'm on a high carb day and I want more of that? How can I add to it? Because it's not simple. Because it says 125 grams of uncooked pasta weighs approximately 240 grams when cooked. However, I challenge you to cook that amount of pasta 4 times and to get the same weight of pasta after it's cooked, because I guarantee you, I've done it time and time again, you will not get the same weight that it says. That pasta would weigh 240 grams cooked. It's never come out that much. So what that does, one, it will be extremely inconvenient to have to weigh the pasta after cooking rather than before cooking. And it also means that that amount on that label there, saying 100 grams when cooked, is completely redundant if, as I have experienced, as I'm sure you would experience when you do cook pasta, that the weight comes out completely different every single time, because it always depends on how fierce you're boiling the water, how much water is absorbed through osmosis, how much it's then drained. If it's cooled, it may lose even more water. So those actual facts about 100 grams of cooked fresh pasta are completely irrelevant. They do not help at all, and it means that you're really restricted if you want to add or subtract from that quarter pack serving. So that's why it's important to look beyond the nutritional recommended dosages, to look at the quantities and the amounts, and then look at your own goals, targets, macronutrient needs. Because then you could take out the fats from some foods that you don't love. Like, say for instance, you could have a chicken breast rather than chicken thigh to save on the fats, and then have more peanut butter at some other time during the day and enjoy more of it. And that's a win-win situation, because you're eating the foods you love. You're eating more of the foods you love more regularly.